Yes, that last was just a practice run. I just recorded this whole video and it didn't record. Anyways, this is Melly K, baby girl, and I'm a little upset right now. My boolicious people. It's gonna be very hot this weekend, so I'm gonna be pumping out some content. Okay, so be prepared. I have some great videos today for you. I'm Melly K, baby girl, and today's video is my top 10 haunted places. Now, they're not in order, so I didn't do any studies or anything to figure this stuff out. They are in order of how I view them because they are the ones that seemed most interesting to me. There might be some places you know, there might be some places you don't.
We're trying to replace Giambi. This guy could be it. I agree, yes.
Watch the video, though, and find out. How about that?
I'm a man of my word.
At the Hill House. The Hill House I've talked about before in my channel. If you remember, if you've been watching my shit, you would know. Talking to you. You can make it up to me by liking this video. Okay. I did a video on it where these people were going to do an investigation at the Hill House, and they went into one of the bedrooms and they were trying to speak to whomever would be willing to, talk to them, and they ended up getting pushed, and then another guy got pushed and scratched, and so many physical attacks there. It's just crazy. Everybody usually gets hit, pushed, or scratched, or something of the sort at the Hill House.
Y'all want to hear a story? The story's going to take us to Mineral Wells, Texas, the location of a house that's so paranormally active that I consider it a level 3 haunting, which means super creepy. This house is known as the Hill House. It's considered one of the most haunted houses in America. Some even think it's a portal to hell. This house is located at 501 Northeast 1st Street. It was originally built in 1890 by a member of the Yeager family, one of the founding families of Mineral Wells. It was C.F. Yeager who owned the property. He was a pharmacist, and he didn't live in the home, but his sister Fanny did. Fanny Yeager Kyle was the widow of William Barclay Kyle. Fanny shared the house with her sister Susan Deborah Renfro, who was also a widow. And the sisters used the house as a makeshift hospital, which may sound odd, but not for Mineral Wells, Texas. It's known for its healing springs, which is called crazy water. It was called that because it's believed this water was able to heal mental illnesses and mental afflictions, aka the crazies. And there was some truth to this because it was discovered later that there's traces of lithium in the water, which is still used today in medications for things like depression and bipolar disorder. So there were a lot of people that came into the town trying to be healed. So little makeshift hospitals like theirs would pop up so that people could stay there and be treated with the water. The sisters continued to live there together until 1924 when Fanny died in the home. Her death certificate shows that she died from old age. Then in 1928, her sister died in the home from the flu. After this, the home was sold and turned into a brothel. By this time, the also haunted Baker Hotel had been built, just right down the street from the house, literally like a stone's throw away. And the working ladies of the home often entertained guests from the Baker. While it was a brothel, it was also a gambling den and a bootlegging operation during Prohibition. It became basically just a hub of illegal activity. And legend says that one of these working ladies gave birth to a disfigured child named Joshua. He died in 1959 at the age of 6. I can't find his records, so I don't know his cause of death. Eventually, it was sold again, and then it was turned back into a home and actually became a rental property for a while. By this time, the house was already known to be haunted. And legend says that several people besides the sisters died inside the home. Patients in the home while it was a hospital that died during a flu outbreak. Then a man in the 1950s fell from the roof while he was working on the chimney. And during the years it was a rent house, there was supposedly a 7-year-old boy who accidentally hung himself from a swing set in the yard. There was also supposedly a young girl named Madeline who was hit by a car in the street in front of the home and managed to crawl up to the home and died right here on these steps. It's also said that at some point someone fell into a well that's on the property and drowned, which interestingly enough, the wells on the property are some of the original wells of the crazy water. I guess somehow somebody fell into one. It's also said that during the years while it was a brothel, at least one of the ladies was shot by an angry, drunken customer. So a lot's gone down in this house. All the people around knew it was haunted. Well, in 2013, a couple named Phil and Kim Kirchhoff bought the home, just thinking it was a cute fixer-upper and not knowing its haunted history until after they had bought it and the neighbors started talking. And the couple became very afraid of the home. Kim wouldn't go there at all, and Phil didn't even like to go over there just to cut the grass. They did, however, begin to allow overnight tours and paranormal investigations to take place here. And so much evidence has been captured. Things have been thrown at people, doors have been slammed, and people have been bitten, scratched, had the sensation of being burned. And there's a lot of video evidence of this stuff. I personally watched a video of a guy getting scratched on the back of his neck, big bloody scratches, and a girl being yanked off of a bed. If you don't believe me, go to YouTube and look that up. It is crazy. It said there are at least 9 spirits that reside here. One is believed to be the boy Joshua, and one is called Dr. Yeager. I'm assuming for C.F. Yeager, the pharmacist, though he never lived in the home and he didn't die in there either. Another one, the absolute scariest of them all, is an entity known as Toby. And Toby isn't believed to be the spirit of someone that died. In fact, he's not considered a human spirit at all, but something much older and darker and more dangerous. He hangs out upstairs and is believed to be the source of most of the most malicious attacks. And very loud growling has been heard from the scratcher room, aka Toby's room, where a lot of people get scratched and bitten to the point that like blood is flowing. That is terrifying. In 2017, the Kirchhoffs put the house up for sale. They didn't want nothing more to do with it. And in 2018, they actually had to drop the price on it because nobody would buy it. It was finally purchased by Sonny and Kathy Estes, who still allow overnight stays and paranormal investigations. And they put up many cameras and other equipment in the home to try to capture as much of this activity as they could. And while many research teams and paranormal investigators have come out to check this place out, they say that only about 50% of them, even the most professional of the paranormal investigators, are able to make it through the entire night. And it's apparently gained quite a reputation in this field. It has been called the most haunted house in the paranormal world. The Hill House sits at the base of East Mountain, which itself has an interesting history and might have a lot to do with the activity here. Look at this haunted AF house looking all pleasant. Around this mountain and on this property, there are a lot of springs of this crazy water, which makes me question one final allegation about this house. It seems to have a strange mental effect on people, either overwhelming them with fear and dread to the point that they can't stand it, or making others seemingly addicted to it. They can't get it out of their head. They can't wait to go back. They dream about it. Some people even say it's like they could hear the house calling them, like it's given them the crazies. And in my personal, non-professional opinion, I kind of wonder if Toby didn't come from this mountain, or some kind of guardian of the ancient springs, or he's a crazy making demon. Who knows? I don't know, but would y'all check out the super duper duper haunted Hill House?
Lake Shawnee, the amusement park that's not so amusing. Man, Mitchell's 2 children died there before the park was even built. So you can imagine there's already that bad karma or bad energy there. You know what I'm saying? Then they think that it was built on or near a Indian burial ground as well. Are you kidding me? What the hell is going on?
This is the most haunted theme park in America, Lake Shawnee in West Virginia. This place is haunted by thousands of ghosts. So Lake Shawnee is a massive abandoned amusement park with a very dark and very disturbing past. Long before the amusement park was ever constructed, a tragedy already occurred on the land. You see, in 1775, a settler named Mitchell Clay made his claim right there on that property. Only a few years later, though, 2 of his children were murdered by indigenous peoples. But a 3rd child of Mitchell's, named Ezekiel, was captured, he was brought to Ohio, and he was burned at the stake. I mean, look at it. It even says right there on the historical plaque. You can't make this up. All 3 of those kids' bodies are buried over here in the park property. Now, when Lake Shawnee was first established, people just kept dying. There were so many accidents in the park that it began to gather a haunted or cursed reputation. For example, a child was killed right here on this old abandoned swing set while the swing was in operation. Obviously, there was a drowning or 2 in this lake, and over here in this lake, I heard a story from the owner when I visited that a child was pulled under the water, supposedly by some sort of phantom force. After the child went under the water, the parents searched, they couldn't find their child, but eventually, a while later, they felt something brush against their leg under the water, and it was their child's body. But why could this place be so cursed, you ask? Well, right next to the property is a mass grave for indigenous peoples where over 3,000 bodies are suspected to be buried. I'm talking about the park's right here, and just over here is where this huge burial plot is. And people think that obviously if they were all buried right there, some of those bodies may have moved in this direction. Over the years, people have experienced all sorts of paranormal activity here, the most terrifying kind of all. People have seen children sliding down the slides, riding the rides. People have seen figures riding the old Ferris wheel, waving at them, shadow figures that disappear. People have heard the sounds of giggling, heard children's voices, adult voices, and people have even seen eerie creatures and other shadow forms in these woods that surround the park. There's even more history that I'm missing out on here, but if you want to watch the full documentary that I shot there where we stayed overnight, just head to my YouTube channel. It was one of the craziest nights of my life. We had the entire amusement park to ourselves, and we caught some crazy paranormal activity on camera while we were there. Let me know below, would you spend the night here alone?
Walmart? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess Walmart can be haunted too. But I guess I never really thought about Walmart being haunted. This Walmart was built near an orphan asylum. And these poor orphans, they were trying to escape a hurricane with the nuns. The nuns tied all their hands together and went to walk through and try to get out of, I don't know what they were thinking if there was a hurricane, so literally running out of the building from the flooding and then going outside really isn't going to help. But I guess they were just trying to do whatever they could to get these kids safe, and it didn't ultimately work. But can you imagine just how horrible they had to be for them? Continuing on.
This is the most haunted Walmart in America. It's in Galveston, Texas, and it was actually built on the site of the former St. Mary's Orphan Asylum, which was destroyed in the hurricane of 1900. There's actually a historical marker right near the Walmart that describes the story of this place. When the storm hit Galveston in 1900, the nuns attempted to save as many kids as possible, tied the children's wrists together with clothesline, and then tied the clothesline around the waists of the nuns. However, the hurricane hit harder than expected, and when people looked through the ruins of the orphanage afterwards, they found the bodies of all the children tied together, drowned, tied up to the nuns. Since this Walmart was built near the site of the original orphan asylum, many workers have claimed to have experienced paranormal activity inside. An employee at one point heard a girl crying for help, but when he looked for her, he couldn't find her. People have also reported seeing toys move by themselves in these aisles, and heard disembodied laughter. What do you think? Would you shop at this Walmart, or is it too spooky?
Bloodiest 47 acres in America. It's a prison with a gas chamber. Can you imagine that being your last hours or your last minutes of life? Well, God, I hope you're not in a gas chamber for hours. Anyway, that's insane. Now, the Paranormal Files here on YouTube as well as on TikTok are a source of a lot of my information, and they do great ghost hunting videos if you'd like to go take a look at them. But they said that they went to this prison and they did their investigation during a thunderstorm. That would be so wild to me to do an investigation at a haunted place like that in a thunderstorm. Boo!
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
This is the Missouri State Penitentiary, the most haunted place in Missouri. This massive prison, nicknamed the bloodiest 47 acres in America, was opened in 1836, years before the Civil War even happened. Nobody knows exactly how many people passed away inside of this building, but they know for a fact it's over thousands, possibly even 10,000. And the building also houses the gas chamber, where 40 inmates were put to death. At one point, even a couple was executed together. And I can't even imagine how excruciatingly painful it would have been to have died in a place like this. Now, lots of paranormal activity has been reported inside of the prison, including people being scratched right here in this chamber, people hearing phantoms screaming, noises, banging, running, and obviously, loads of shadow figures have been seen here. Now, I've been to a lot of haunted places, but being inside of an actual death chamber was something different. It was eerie, it was dark, and it didn't feel good. We spent the full night here investigating for paranormal activity during a thunderstorm, and let me tell you, this place is haunted. The full video is going to be on my YouTube channel, The Paranormal Files, tonight.
Haunted hospital, and it doesn't quite say where this hospital is located, but it did say that a big Civil War battle was on the property, so you could only speculate where that might be. So many people lost their lives there between the war before the hospital was built and then after the hospital was built. I mean, obviously there was plenty of deaths to go around just from the hospital alone. So, I mean, that place is definitely haunted with more than they even know about, I'm sure.
Known as one of the most haunted places in the U.S., this place sits on a long history of death. The land was the site of a major war battle causing hundreds of lives to be lost. The hospital was then built with a limestone base and a running stream underneath it. Limestone and running water help increase energy in the paranormal world. While in operation, it was the only hospital open miles around, leaving it dangerously overcrowded and understaffed. Neglected and suffering patients were left in the hallways, causing a lot of traumatic deaths. When you die tragically, you don't always know you've died, so sometimes you stick around. Now this is a home to many spirits. Known as one of the most haunted
Prospect Park, California. Murderers killing on the land as well as abductions on the land. So much negativity. People have heard voices and seen apparitions, as is true with most of these stories. But it's such a beautiful park. You would never ever think that anything like this would be occurring there, you know?
Prospect Park, one of the most haunted places in Redlands, California. It's been said that the park was a popular dumping ground for dead bodies due to its dense foliage. In 2013, a man was arrested for murdering a woman, and her body was discovered in the park. The most popular tale in regards to this park is about an 11-year-old girl named Leanne, who was walking home from Kingsbury Elementary School and was abducted while taking a shortcut through the rugged orange groves. People have reported seeing apparitions of a young girl wearing the same clothes the victim was wearing the night she was murdered. Prospect Park has been around since the 1800s, and many people who visit it have felt strange presences. People often hear footsteps and other unusual sounds originating from the stage area, and some have reported seeing a woman, a white dress, walking aimlessly around the park. The park is also thought to be a prime location for Satan worshippers to gather at night.
Oh, and here's a little break for you. I'm advertising for myself here. So, hey, you guys remember? Yep, it's Baby Girl. Could you please subscribe to my channel if you're liking the content? I would really greatly appreciate it. And I much appreciate the subscribers I already have. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And also, if you wouldn't mind, if you're liking the content, please like the video. It helps me so much, especially being a new channel, to get me through the algorithm so that more people see my videos and I can get more subscribers, obviously, because this is doing what I love, and I just can't wait to build and build and build on this great community that we already have. Okay, so with that being said, I've also made a Patreon, so please come check me out there. I'm going to be posting vlogs, dog videos. We're going to do some bloopers to be over there. Anything you can think of. Unhinged videos are over there, and I'm going to put the ones that are crazy and where I'm acting wild on my Patreon. So $3 a month, and you're going to have some damn good content over there. I'm going to try to post like every day over there, especially with vlogging and stuff. So it should be a lot of fun. come and join the community over there. Now, back to the show. Malabar Farm, Ohio. Hey, Ohio. The Rose family. Now, Celia was mentally disturbed and she was bullied for it and like picked on a lot for it, which made her very resentful of her, community. Her mind was like a child trapped in an adult's body, in which she also had the hormones of an adult woman, if you catch my drift. So she didn't quite know how to flirt or how to like express her, sexual tension. But she was starting to get very aggressive when hitting on these guys. She even fell in love with a 16-year-old boy, went around town and told everybody that they were in love and going to get married, but he had no idea. So when he found out, he was, needless to say, very, very upset with her. She was not about to let anybody be in her way of him, though, and she ended up killing, her entire family to keep them out of the way. Can you imagine? Oh, some women are a little bit unhinged with their men. I have even my own family members that would pick a guy over their own family. Go figure, right?
This is supposedly one of the most haunted houses in America. In this photo is a home known as the Malabar Farm, and it's located in Lucas, Ohio. Now this story takes us to the year 1896, where we meet the entire Rose family. It was made up of the father, Walter Rose, and his wife, Rebecca Rose. And together they had 2 children, David Rose and Celia Rose. Now, an important thing to note about Celia is that unfortunately she was born with a mental illness. As she got older, unfortunately her mind didn't keep up with her physical appearance. And by the time she was 23 years old, she had the mind of a young adolescent. Which then brings us to the year 1896. Now at the time, the entire Rose family was living in this exact house here. And as Celia was growing up, even though she did try her best to make friends, she had a really hard time. She would find herself being ostracized quite often and had a really hard time making friends. And then as she got older and it came time to start dating and potentially finding a husband, that was a very hard time for her too. And as she saw other young women her age getting engaged, getting married, and even having children, she was wondering what was wrong with her. But because she didn't have the social cues to interact with men in an appropriate manner, she started coming on to them quite aggressively. It was said that she would approach men in the area and start flirting with them and being very open and honest about what she wanted. But as you can imagine, most men did not take to this very well, and for the most part they would laugh at her and completely brush her off. And so because Celia wasn't having very much luck with men her age, she decided to go for someone much younger than her, which happened to be one of her neighbors who was a 16-year-old boy, and his name was Guy Barry. Now because this boy was only 16 years old, he thought that Celia was just lonely and was trying to make friends. And so for the most part, he would end up talking to her and just was really nice to her, which Celia mistook for being romantic interest. And soon enough, she was running around town telling everyone that her and Guy were going to get engaged and then married. But when Guy found out about this, he was extremely upset and didn't want anything to do with Celia. And so he approached his father and told him that he needed to go talk to Celia's family to make her stop. And so of course, Celia's father ordered her to stop bothering Guy. But Celia did not take this very well at all, and almost immediately she started to plot on how to make sure that she would end up with Guy. In her mind, she was not about to let anyone get in the way of her finding true love. And that's when she realized that she needed to completely get rid of her entire family because they were the ones stopping her from finding her true happiness. And so with that, Celia found a box of rat poison and put it to use. One morning when her entire family was gathered at the table for breakfast, Celia decided to take a spoonful of the rat poison and mixed it into the cottage cheese. She then made sure to serve it to each of her family members and watched as they all ate it. And soon enough, both her brother and her father would go on to pass away inside the family home. Now fortunately for her mother, she had only taken a couple bites of the cottage cheese, so she did not die because of the rat poisoning. An investigation was then launched to find out who could have possibly done this to the Rose family. And almost immediately, authorities suspected Celia of being their #1 suspect. But because there was no solid evidence to tie her to this, they had to let her go. But a little while later, Celia decided that she needed to get rid of her mother too. and then again proceeded to poison her one more time, and this time she was successful. And at the funeral, Celia blurted out to one of her friends and confessed the entire thing. Obviously, her friend then reported her to the authorities and Celia was charged. But because of her mental state, she was found as not guilty due to insanity. And then she was sent to a state hospital where she stayed until the age of 61 and then passed away. And as for the Malabar farm, because almost the entire Rose family passed away inside the walls, to this day it's said to be extremely haunted. Anyone who visits the home reports feeling extremely uncomfortable, and some even compare it like walking into static, while others believe that the spirit of Celia Rose remains at the house, believing that her spirit is destined to wander the grounds looking for her one true love. But let me know what you guys think.
The haunted Windsor ruins in Mississippi that was built in 1859 and burnt down in 1890 shortly after it was built, and it's horrible. It looked like it was going to be a massive mansion, and they decided to have a party there, and guess what? One of your idiot friends at your party burnt down your house. Now that is a lesson to you kids. When your parents go out of town and you think, I'm going to have a party, and you have that party and someone sets your house on fire. Be careful. I'm just saying.
Today we're headed south to Mississippi, to the ruins of a haunted mansion. Sounds like my kind of date night. Welcome to Windsor Ruins in Port Gibson, Mississippi, or at least what's left of it. On the plantation site, there's only 23 of these columns that are left standing. The owner, Smith Daniel II, died weeks before its completion in 1861. Once completed, this was the overall goal for the plantation. However, in 1890, a party was thrown here where someone accidentally burnt down what was left of the mansion. It's said there was a Union soldier that was killed in this doorway of where the mansion used to stand, and he still guards it to this day. Are you brave enough to visit the Windsor Ruins? And follow us for more spooky content.
Hinsdale House. Now, the Hinsdale House is said to be the most haunted house in America, but not to me, okay? I'll make that choice. Now, it's called a demon house, and very rightfully so. Suicides have happened there, murders have happened there. It's got a very negative and violent energy. For some reason, it doesn't just get you physically, but it also gets you mentally. And it's said that serial killers have lived there because they have been finding many bodies buried in the back of the house. Yikes. What the fuck are these people thinking?
An exorcism was performed on this house and it failed. Welcome to the Hinsdale House, the scariest house in all of America. Now, the story of the Hinsdale House is a very, very interesting one. This place is located in Hinsdale, New York, upstate New York, near Buffalo, and there have been a number of tragedies and stories associated with this property. For example, a child on a nearby farm was killed by a buzzsaw early in the 1900s. Two brothers were arguing in the forest behind the home one day when one brother took a shotgun and shot his brother, killing him. There's a tree on the front of the property that was allegedly used to hang people, including a famous hanging of a pregnant woman. And some of the earliest people that lived in the house are suspected to be serial killers. Yes, the current owner, Dan, has found bodies buried in the back part of the property. They still haven't figured out who the bodies belong to. They only know that they're there because they've taken out ground penetrating radar and figured out that there were bodies. They're working on getting them checked out and everything. But none of this even includes the exorcism and the possession of the Dandy family. Now, in the 1970s, kind of like something out of The Conjuring, the Dandy family moved into the Hinsdale house. And they experienced all sorts of violent paranormal activity. There would be swarms of bugs that would appear. They couldn't get any sleep. People were getting scratched, pushed, screamed at. And this was such a terrifying haunting that they sought the help of a local priest, Father Alphonsus, pictured right here. Now, he came in and performed what's known as a structural exorcism on the property. with the whole family present. This is widely documented. They even had a film crew from a New York university come out and film this entire process. And after this structural exorcism was completed, the film crew members swore they would never return to the property because of what they had seen and what they had heard during that process. Now, sadly, this exorcism failed. Only a short while after the exorcism, one of the family members ended up hanging herself. And the surviving members of the family to this day will tell you that this was the scariest thing they've ever experienced, and they wouldn't wish this on their worst enemy. There are also indigenous burial mounds just located right past the property line, so this place is like a gigantic vortex of just negative, strange energy. People have even reported seeing pukwudgies, wendigos, and skinwalkers in the woods surrounding the house. Obviously, I'm a paranormal investigator. I had to check the place out. I actually spent the night there back in March of this year, and let me tell you, it was one of the scariest experiences we've ever had. It was a totally different type of haunting, a different type of energy that just got into your mind. It works into your mind. It gives you violent thoughts, angry thoughts. And when I was sitting upstairs in the home where allegedly an investigator at one point had his eyes roll back into his head and his eyes turned black, I felt like a hand ran up my thigh and squeezed me on my buttocks. And so obviously you'd think that that one time, the scary night, would be enough. But no, we recently returned last week to investigate. And this time when we went back, we brought an actor so we could recreate the exorcism that took place back in the 1970s. And let me tell you, that's the night when all hell broke loose. The full video is going to be on my YouTube channel on Monday, so be sure you don't miss it.
Dudleytown. This video is more like a warning to everybody, especially the animals not even wanting to go near this place. Birds don't go near it, little creatures don't go near it, bugs aren't anywhere near it. I mean, that's wild. I don't like bugs anyways, but I mean, I would like to see the occasional bird here, and I love birds. People have gone missing there. It's just very, very wild. But my favorite part of this video I'm about to show you is he says, "Wait till you fuck with a real boss." You damn right. King Henry, or whatever, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th.
Do y'all know how fucked up a town gotta be for birds not to be flying? It is 100% silent. You won't see or hear no animals at all, even insects. You can't even tour this motherfucker. There's even been shadows of all different shapes and sizes walking around in the forest. And a lot of people come up missing when they go to this motherfucker. This is the most haunted town in America. It is called the Dudleytown, located in Connecticut. The town became haunted after the Dudley family moved to Connecticut after one of their family members was executed for plotting on King Henry VIII. King Henry VIII executed between 57,000 to 72,000 people, and even 2 of them were his wives. So what in the hell was dude thinking? Why fuck with a real boss, a real king? Now it is unknown exactly what caused the fucking curse. Dudleytown is heavily surrounded by the police because people keep sneaking in and they fucking dying when they go. This place is not worth the fucking fame. Your life is more valuable. Have a nice day.
Bonus video. Bonus video. Bonus video. An abandoned nursing home. Now, this abandoned nursing home was shut down because an old woman was left in a van outside of the nursing home in the heat, and she passed away from it. Can you believe that? Going to go and see your mom, or you get a phone call that the place that she was supposed to be protected, she wasn't. And that's just awful. Because we trust these places to take care of our family. And then I hear constant cases of abuse, neglect, and this kind of thing is just absolutely uncalled for. But I do hope her children did something about it, to be honest.
This is one of the most haunted places I've ever been to, and I won't go in here alone. It's an old abandoned nursing home outside of Waco, Texas. And if you're wondering why it was shut down, it was because an elderly woman was left here in the parking lot in a locked van on a hot day and she died. Abuse and other crimes against the elderly run rampant at nursing homes. And this place was no stranger to it. I went there for my YouTube channel a couple of years ago, and the video footage that I captured inside is shocking. I found a doll hanging by a noose. I heard the sounds of people inside the building and talking, and it looks like there's someone still there. Would you explore this place with me? Let me know below.
But that does bring us to the end of this video, guys. I know it's over. It's always over too fast. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Let me tell you something. I'll wipe my tears if you subscribe and like this video, okay? Oh, you are? Oh, no need to cry these tears then. I'm calling you mothers. We're gonna find out how bad you've been being assholes or not. If you've been too bad assholes, that's over. I'm done. I'm done. Told you, I'm sick of this shit with you guys.
Bye, have a great time.
It's caught in the crossfire.